So you call it your emotional compass, and I love the concept. And I'd love for you to share a little bit about that because I think it could be very meaningful to a lot of people.
Thank you. Throughout my career, I've learned how critical emotional intelligence is, especially in the field of human resources, because you deal with a lot of different emotions. You deal with a lot of sensitive situations. And as I was thinking about how can I best describe emotional intelligence, and I think about, you have to navigate the situation. And it just made me think it's like having your own personal compass because you need to understand how to navigate your personal emotions to drive whatever that outcome that you are seeking. And so reflecting back and thinking about what I've learned about emotional intelligence, how I've experienced that, I thought about how do I put it in a simple way, in simple steps that people can understand. And the first step, and probably the most critical step, is thinking about understanding what is it that triggers your emotions and how do you identify them? Because a lot of times, we don't think about the importance of having that self-awareness, right? So it,
Oh
it
yeah.
starts with that self-awareness and understanding, okay, I'm getting mad right now. Why am I getting mad, right? And it takes time, it takes practice, but again, that is to me the most critical step, the fundamental step. Then step two is asking yourself, why are you feeling that way? Right? So first is understanding the emotion, and then step two is understanding why. Step three is reading the situation and the behaviors of others, because it's not just understanding yourself, but also understanding the person that you are interacting with, right?
Yeah.
And this is where sometimes we take on the other person's emotions, and then the situation becomes more complicated instead of understanding, if they're already upset, what can I do to pivot that to diffuse that anger, right? Then step forward is responding to that situation with that emotional intelligence. And this is where once you've have identified sort of what is that emotion, how can you best pivot the situation? In some cases, I've had to say to the individual, I understand that there's a lot of concerns, and we might need to reschedule this meeting or this conversation to a different time because you want to make sure that that person is in the right space, the right mindset to be able to
Yeah.
have that conversation. Because if not, then you're just not going to reach that outcome that you're looking for. And then the last piece is sort of that self-reflection, thinking about, well, what did I learn from that situation? How can I have, navigated differently, or key lessons learned? And this is how you start to build that muscle and that resilience and understanding your personal emotional intelligence to navigate the situation. And this is where the whole concept of the, personal compass came into mind.
That is a great concept. And I love the way you drilled it down into very practical pieces. Love the example.